Hello, my name is Arvind Putra, and today I'm going to be discussing about the third experiment of the MOM lab, which is the hardness test. So we're moving on to the table of content of this presentation. First of all is introduction, where I'm going to be explaining what a hardness test really is. Second is experiment overview, where I'm going to be giving a walkthrough about the experiment that we as students did yesterday. And the last is the lab reports questions discussion, where I'm going to be answering the lab reports questions. So we're moving on to the introduction part of the presentation. So first of all, I'm going to be discussing about the purpose of hardness test. So a hardness test measures a material's resistance to deformation, particularly permanent indentation, scratching, cutting, or abrasion. And in the lab, students conducted two hardness tests, which are Rockwell and Shorty test. Rockwell test uses a hard indenter and a major rod, and it is best to use for metamaterials such as steel and aluminum, whereas Shorty test uses durometer and is ideal to test for hard polymers such as PLA and HDPE. So as can be seen from the images on the right, the Rockwell test uses machine completely in order to test the hardness of the materials, whereas Shorty test uses durometer, which requiring people or a person to completely hold the durometer still and give a pressure to the materials in order to measure it. So we're moving on to the test overview section, where I'm going to be discussing about what the students have done for hardness test from the beginning until the end. First of all is to obtain the dimension of the specimen. So students are required to use a vernier caliper in order to obtain the dimension of the specimens. After the dimensions have been obtained, we are moving to the grinding process. So students are required to grind the specimens in order to get a clean and even surface for the specimens in order to be qualified for the Rockwell test. And after that, students will take their specimens and conduct a Rockwell test. Therefore, after that, analyzing the hardness data that is been gotten from the experiment. Okay, we're moving on to the part where I'm going to be discussing about the data processing of hardness test and to answer the module questions. So as can be seen here, there are 4 materials or specimens that are going to be tested their hardness. So for steel and aluminum specimens, we're going to be conducting a hardness test using Rockwell test. So for steel, we are going to use HRA scale, and therefore we can get the average hardness number of 51,5 with the standard deviation of plus minus 0,47. Whereas for aluminum, we are using an HRBW scale, therefore we can get an average hardness number of 55,06 with a standard deviation of plus minus 0,82. We can also measure the polymer materials such as HDPE and PLA using the Shorty hardness test. And so for this experiment, we get an average hardness number for HDPE is 65.68 with a standard deviation of plus minus 4,19, and the PLA with an average hardness number of 82,41 with a standard deviation of plus minus 2,48. So we're moving on to the question number 2, where students need to discuss the concept of hardness test in general and discuss why it is important. So as I have mentioned before, hardness test is important because it can measure the material's resistance to deformation, and also it is important for testing materials performance as it determines how materials perform under stress. Another importance of hardness tests are below, such as helping in choosing the right material for specific applications, ensuring materials meet required specification before manufacturing. Since it is a non-destructive testing, it doesn't alter the product, which is suitable for finished goods. It is also a good indication whether a material is wear resistant or not, since a higher hardness typically indicates better wear resistance. Also, hardness test can be correlated to other mechanical properties such as tensile strength and yield strength. So moving on to number 4, where students are expected to discuss what happens if the hardness scale is wrong, indicating that the wrong scale is being used in order to measure a material. So as can be seen from the table, there are several scales of Rockwell tests, such as HRA, HRB, and HRC. So HRA is using a diamond cone indenter, which is suitable for hard materials. Therefore, testing softer materials with HRA can lead to minimal penetration and inaccurately high values. In other hand, HRB uses a 1/16-inch ball indenter which is meant for softer materials such as aluminum, which can result in excessive penetration when applied to harder materials, yielding in inaccurately low values. So using the wrong Rockwell scale can compromise measurement accuracy and reliability. So the same principle applies to shore hardness test, which can be seen on the table that there are multiple scales of shore hardness tests such as shore A, shore B, shore C, and shore D. Shore A is used for soft materials like rubbers, so when testing harder materials, it may lead to insufficient penetration and therefore we can get inaccurately low values. On the other hand, shore D is designed for hard materials, hard polymers such as HDPE and PLA, which can result in excessive penetration and inaccurately high values when testing softer materials. And the same thing also applies to shore B and shore C. So moving on to the fifth question, when students are told to describe the benefits and limitations of Rockwell and shore D hardness test. So there are several benefits and limitations that can be gotten from testing materials hardness using Rockwell hardness test. The first benefit is that it is quick and easy process, which means that immediate results can be instantly gotten from Rockwell hardness test, which is ideal for routine quality control. Rockwell hardness test is also famous for its non-destructive manner, which only creates a small indentation without significantly altering the material. The other benefits of Rockwell hardness test is that it is versatile and standardized, which is suitable for various materials, whether it is metals or alloys, and differing hardness levels. Also, Rockwell hardness test has been widely recognized and standardized by ISO 6508 and ASTM E18, ensuring its reliability and consistency. However, there are several limitations that we can get from doing Rockwell hardness test, which is a strict surface preparation is required for Rockwell hardness test, meaning that the specimen surface must be very smooth and clean and even for accurate results. This required the user to do more effort such as grinding the materials in order to get an accurate result. So Rockwell hardness test is also not suitable for thin materials, since the indentation depth of the indenter can exceed the thickness of the material, which can lead to inaccurate readings or even fracture. So we're moving on to the benefits of shore D hardness test. The first benefit of shore D hardness test is that it is ideal for rigid polymers, meaning it can cover varieties of hard plastics or semi-rigid polymers such as HDPE and PLA. Also, it has a simple and portable manner of measuring the hardness of the material, since it is using a portable durometer, which is applicable in various settings and is portable. Shore D hardness test also has a wide range of application which cover a broad range of hardness levels. Putting aside the benefits, there are several limitations that can occur when doing Shore D hardness test. First limitation is that it needs a strict surface requirements. So the specimen for Shore D hardness test requires a very flat, even and smooth surface for accurate readings. If irregularities or uneven surface is occurring on the surface, it may affect the result to become inaccurate. The second limitation of the Shore D hardness test is that it provides a limited material information. So it is not like Rockwell test, which can be interchangeable with tensile strength. Shore D hardness test does not provide data on properties such as tensile strength, abrasion resistance, or wear resistance. The last factor or limitations of Shore D hardness test is that human errors may occur from time to time. So human errors such as incorrect durometer placement and inconsistent force application can lead to incorrect measurements. Okay, so moving forward to the sixth question, where students are expected to explain the differences between Rockwell hardness test and Rockwell superficial hardness test. So for Rockwell hardness test, the purpose of the Rockwell hardness test is the same as before, which is to measure the hardness by determining the depth of indentation under a large slot, and is commonly used for metals. The loads that are being used for Rockwell hardness test ranges from 60 kgf to 150 kgf. So the Rockwell hardness test uses various scales such as HRA, HRP, HRC, and so on, depending on the material's hardness and mechanical properties. And the applications of the Rockwell hardness test, as can be seen, is still the same as we discussed before. So comparing to the Rockwell superficial hardness test, The purpose of the Rockwell superficial hardness test is to measure hardness of thinner materials or the materials with surface treatments. However, it's still following the same principles as the standard Rockwell test and is suitable for surface-sensitive testing. The loads that are being used for Rockwell superficial hardness test are relatively lower than the standard Rockwell test, which is typically ranging from 15 kgf to 45 kgf in order to avoid imaging thin or delicate materials. The scales for Rockwell superficial hardness test are divided by 2, which is for metals that uses the 15N, 30N, and 45N category, and for non-metals which uses 15 kgf, 30 kgf, and 45 kgf category. The application of the Rockwell superficial hardness test is to test materials that are being coated or very thin materials where surface hardness is the primary concern. Moreover, it is suitable to test materials with surface hardness variations that cannot endure higher loads. So here's the table including the scales of the superficial Rockwell's hardness test. Moving on to number 7, where students are expected to predict the tensile strength of a material of a specimen from the Rockwell hardness number. We can get the tensile strength value of a steel specimen from the hardness number HRA, which is gotten from the test. First of all, we must convert the HRA to HRB using the Rockwell's hardness conversion chart that we get from the internet. As can be seen, we've converted 51,5 HRA into an 83,6 HRB hardness number. So after converting an HRA hardness number to HRB, we can get the tensile strength value of the steel specimen through the graph from the book Material Science and Engineering and Introduction by Callister W.D., Reswich D.G., 8th edition, page 179, made in 2009. So after creating lines and connecting HRB hardness number into the tensile strength in MPa, we get the value of 470 MPa approximately. Comparing to the tensile strength of steel from the book Material Science and Engineering textbook by Callister, 10th edition, the tensile strength of steel from the stress versus strain graph is around 450 MPa. And comparing the both results, we get a 4.44% error value, which I think is pretty accurate since we predict the tensile strength of the specimen only by using the hardness number. So moving on to the next question, where we compare the material characteristics between hard steel and plastics by comparing their hardness values. So we're moving on to the next question, when we are tasked to compare the material characteristics between hard steel and plastic by comparing their hardness values. As can be seen from the table, the hardness of hard steel is relatively high with a 40 and a 65 hardness number in HRC scale, whereas the hardness number of plastic is considerably low with a value of 60 until 85 short D hardness number. Materials like hard steel, which has a high hardness number, typically also has a high strength, wear resistance, and thermal stability, and the weight of the material is relatively heavy compared to the material with low hardness. So plastics, on the other hand, which has a low hardness, also typically has a low strength, low to moderate wear resistance, and a low thermal stability, and is usually has a very light weight compared to steel. The applications between the two materials are also very different, where hard steel is usually used in applications where high hardness and wear resistance are crucial, such as in cutting tools, machine parts, and constructions, whereas plastics is used in applications where lightweight, flexibility, and resistance to corrosions are important, such as in packaging, electrical components, and consumer goods. Lastly, we are tasked to compare the material characteristics within the same material by comparing the hardness values. So we're going to be comparing the 440A martensitic stainless steel with the 440C martensitic stainless steel. As can be seen on the slides, the hardness of the 440C stainless steel is the highest among all the stainless steel with 60 HRC hardness number. Therefore, it has a higher carbon content than the 440A, a higher corrosion resistance and wear resistance, also considerably the strongest and most desirable stainless steel for high stress application. The application for 440C stainless steel are knives, bearings, valves. So basically products where wear resistance and hardness are critical, whereas the applications of 440A stainless steel is typically used for machining due to its more ductile and property, which is better suited for application that needs toughness. So that's it from me today. Thank you.